Hello, and welcome to another session here at NAV SEAL. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about service management. More precisely, we're going to talk about service quotes. Now, service quotes, if you want to make any comparison to sales, you could maybe compare to a sales quote. Whereas a sales quote is typically a quote for some specific items or some resources or some other services that you are going to sell to that customer. A service quote is slightly different. Service quotes handles the repair maintenance side of items that you have sold to your customers, and a service quote is intended for you to give a quote of, for example, a repair of a computer, or for example, some maintenance. So let's jump directly into it and let's have a look at it. I have powered up here my Business Central, my demo version, and I'm logged into the service management module here. So you can see up in the top here, we can select service quotes as one of the options. Now we can create a new one, and like any other documents in Business Central, we're going to give a number and we're going to select a customer. Let's find Progressive Home Furnishing. That's one of our customers here in our little scenario or our little example. And we have sold them some computers over the time. And now one of those computers have a fault, an error. And the customer has contacted us and want to have a quote for fixing that issue with that computer that we sold them maybe last year. So the top part of the service quote here is not really that different compared to a sales quote, if you will. What is really important, really interesting down here is when we get down to the lines. So the lines, we can select our service item. And if I click on the three assist buttons in here, I get a list of the service items that's linked to this customer. So it's important now to keep in mind that we might have hundreds or thousands of service items in here, but we're only going to see the service item that's linked to this specific customer, Progressive, that we're looking at right now. Now we have three different service items in here. It's the same computer, the same model, if you will, but with different serial numbers, as you can see here in the serial number column. So of course we need to verify that with the customer and say, okay, which one is it? Could you please check the serial number? So we're just going to play around and say this is the number 6 one. So you can see down here on the line, it's going to update with the information we got from that service item, and the group it belongs to, the item number and the serial number and the description in here. Now initially we're going to call it repair status code initial right now. It's not really that important when it comes to a service quote. It's more when we get into a service order once the customer accepts our service quote in here. Now in here, so this is the item that has been or is going to be returned to us if the customer accepts it. We could add more lines to this, selecting from the list of the service items if we wanted to do that. But in this scenario, let's stick to just one of the service items, the first one with the serial number 6 up here. When we want to look at this, of course, we're going to talk to the customer. Say, okay, what is the issue with this? What is the fault? What's the symptom? And so on. So let's look at the line here. There's something called service item worksheet. The service item worksheet, when we open that, let me just give it the full page here. The service item worksheet is kind of your repair pad, if you will, to say, okay, this is where I can put in some fault codes. So me talking to the customer on the phone, or if they've emailed you, you can put in some information here if you have it. And of course, as in any other scenario, it's really important to gather as much information as you can and put that into the service quote, because you're going to be in a better position to actually do a quote afterwards. So let's just say that it's, maybe something to do with sound. What is the symptom code for that? Okay, it's a noise maybe. Okay, do we have any fault codes for that? No, not really. Okay, let's stick to that. That's fine. So down here, once I kind of have an idea about that, I could say, okay, I think I need a resource to look into that, and I need just a resource. I could put a name on it for Lena Townsend if I wanted, or I could just use a more generic one saying a resource. Okay, so I could say I probably need 4 hours for that. So that's a cost to that. I could also say that, okay, I think I need an item for the repair of that, if I have an idea about that. And that is my task right now. So I'm gonna look up my items up here. Say, okay, what do we have down here that I can use? This is probably this one. I need one of those. Okay, and there's a price to that. Oh, I see there's not really a price on that resource. Let's just take another one just for, let's see, Marty. Here we go. So do you see here there's a unit price of $83 per hour. And there's a cost for materials down here for $20.70. So you could say that if you compare to a sales quote where you have all the lines, this is a multi-level, you could say. So for each service item, you're going to look at the worksheet, and the worksheet is actually where you're going to put in your estimates, your labor hours, your repair items, and so on. You can put that in to the service item up here. Now, we could also use, I'm just going to show that there's something up here that's called troubleshooting. Troubleshooting, again, it's something that you can build over time, because usually when you start from day one, you don't have all that history, all that information that you have learned from history as well. Now, let me just go one step back and show you, because down here you can see there's a service item group code on it. And actually we do have the same option up here called troubleshooting. If I click on that, that is related to our desktop service group. So over time we have gathered information, so we know kind of, let's ask some of the more generic, more general questions when we have a scenario where something is wrong with a desktop, that group of service items that's in this group called desktop. Now I've just put in two questions in here, and just imagine over time you're going to gather more and more information, so you're going to put more and more information into this troubleshooting guide. So this is kind of a first level troubleshooting. So hopefully it will help you ask more questions to the customers and getting closer to what is the real issue here. So again, that's just one of the really cool and nice features about the service management side, where specifically on the quote and on the service order, you have tools like that. Also, you could put in comments in here, say, okay, faults, resolutions, internal comments. And maybe at this stage in time, you would put in some internal comments explaining more in your own words what has been talked about with the customer. You could put it in here as an internal comment. Some of the other information like faults, resolutions probably makes more sense when you get to the service order part, once the customer has approved the quote and you can kind of get started with the repair for this one. Another thing I wanted to mention when we talk about service quotes in here, there's something that is called service item log. If I click on that, so service management is kind of well documented with what we call the log. So any type of change that you make to your document, to your service items, will be documented in an item log, service item log. So you can see from the screen here, actually what I have done right now, and there's a timestamp up here saying when I did it also. So there's a log in here. Just imagine you have a big business running here, and you have multiple people working on quotes and orders. So sometimes it's really hard to keep track of who did what at what time, and so on and so on. So the service log is really, really nice to have as part of your service management. Of course, over to the right, you have the fact boxes like other places in the system. You can look up the customer and all that information that goes together with the customer. One more thing I wanted to mention right here. You see at the end of the line on the service item line here, there's a number of previous services. Now, of course, this is the first time that we're going to see this specific computer with this specific serial number. So we don't really have any history. But just imagine that once we have done this one, maybe next year, the same computer comes back again, and it would be nice to look up that history. And of course, we can do that. Once we have registered this quote and becomes an order, becomes a post document, we have done all what is needed to do the repair. This is available for next time when we're going to do any repairs. Next time the customer calls us and said, I still have a problem with this one. So we can leave that and we can let the customer kind of decide, give it some time to think about, and they can contact us again and say, okay, that's great. I really want to go ahead with that. Please continue with that. And we can send our computer to you and so on. So once you get to that point in time, you do have that option up here in the left-hand corner called Make Order. And that means now the customer has accepted the service quote, and we can carry on and actually start doing the repair for this specific computer. That was just a little bit part of service management and service quote. I hope you enjoyed the information. I hope you could use it. Stay tuned because we're going to have some more videos in the future. So looking forward to see you again. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this video from NAV SEAL. Check out more right here. NAV SEAL offer assistance and counsel on any existing solution. So if you're in need of assistance, don't hesitate to contact us on navseal.com or LinkedIn. Consider leaving a like and subscribe for more tips, news, and guides to anything Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.